Okay, so now we're going to talk about where to use your coaching client profile. So if you haven't figured it out by now, what I like to do is give the big picture strategy on why we're doing something, and then we're going to take the other strategies and take them step by step, right? And all these smaller strategies impact the bigger ones. So in the areas of your business, your coaching client profile really does affect some different key areas. The first one being your website messaging, which is really important. When people are going to your website, you want your potential clients to look at the colors, the language, the images, the calls to action on the website to really speak directly to them, right? And we have to know who we're targeting and who we want to serve for us to make sure that messaging is on point for them. When we have a coaching client profile, it also makes our content marketing so much easier. So this is if you're doing blog posts, videos, podcasts, social media content, email marketing, all these type of things. We want to use our perfect client profile so that we can actually address those specific interests, the challenges, the aspirations of the profile. So if you struggle with what do I post? What do I put on social media? Knowing this is going to really, really help you make that so much clearer. And even in your content marketing, you can create a calendar with different topics of things that you can pull from. So for me, I never struggle anymore about what I want to post. I just pull something from what I know is a challenge or a desire, and then I tweak my content to really speak to that profile. Okay, so content marketing, it's huge, but we have to know who we want to serve so that we can get that content right. Also on your branding. So this is why we're doing it before we're getting into branding. Again, your brand voice, which is what type of words you use. Are you conversational? Are you professional? However you want to show up with your brand voice, which is how people perceive and read our content, right? So branding is, it's really important. Obviously the colors, the textures, our logo, the imagery, the fonts, the overall vibe with the expectations outlined in our client profile. It's going to be, it allows us to consistently attract them, right? So I know, for me, when I only worked with women for a while, it's like I used blush and gold or silvers and gold and stuff like that, right? Versus if I worked with only male coaching clients, I would use different colors, right? So you want to think in terms of your branding. So put yourself in your coaching client profile shoes. So that way you're like, does this resonate with me when I'm acting as my client profile? Okay. And then obviously your coaching offers. So based on who they are, who we're trying to attract, we want to create solutions and have that investment amount. And notice I try to say investment, not what's our prices of our coaching offers. It's what's the investment, because it is working with you is an investment in them to get a transformation. So we're going to know what kind of coaching offers, what solutions we're going to provide based on their struggles and their core desires, right? So, and obviously we want to our investments are going to be in an area that works for them, right? So it's like, we want to think of that in terms of the needs, the goals, the pain points of our perfect client profile. All right. And then paid advertising campaigns. We need a client profile for that as well. So this is like targeting your ads, whether you're using Facebook, Instagram, Google. If you get to using paid advertising in your coaching business to do client attraction, it's really important that we know the demographics, the interests, the behaviors from that client profile so that we can reach them on those different platforms. Because there's a way, literally, you can go and target exactly the brands they like, the books they like, it makes your paid advertising campaigns that much more effective if that's what you choose to want to do down the road. And also the enrollment strategy. So we want to know your client profile because your paid offers and your discovery sessions and even your masterclasses or conversion events, live events, whatever you want to do is really about giving specific motivations and the objections and the language that's going to resonate most with your client profile. So I know for me, and I don't like to drive things about making it about money and investment, right? So I try to take that off the table as much as I can in my conversations, my discovery sessions and stuff like that. So only because a lot of the time I work with coaches that struggle with their own worth, right? So I've learned that and I've adapted along the way. That's a strategy for me. You can have a client profile that money is not even, if they have an issue, they will solve it and money is just off the table. So, it's just as easy to create a profile that does that versus one that, is really struggling, right? So anyway, something to keep in mind, your enrollment strategy, the client profile is really important for that. We also want to have the client experience mapped out based on our coaching client profile as well. This is going to allow us to understand and anticipate the needs of our coaching clients so that we can improve their satisfaction in our coaching offers. Not just improve, but maybe exceed, right? And then we want to really double down on that client experience because we understand we probably know what they need even more than they know what they need because they might be stuck in the forest amongst all the trees, and we want to give them that eagle eye view down to show them the path, right? So that's all about that client experience, but we need to know who we're serving first. Networking. So whether it's online or in-person networking, when you know who you want to serve through that client profile, it allows you to identify and pursue the networking opportunities based on where your coaching client profile is actually hanging out, right? It makes that so much more easy, so much more effective, all that kind of stuff. And then the last group from a high-level business strategy of where doing this exercise is really going to help impact your business is on feedback and testimonials. So what happens is we want to collect that feedback and use testimonials in our coaching business that actually speak to the transformation of our coaching client profile so that we're attracting more like-minded clients with social proof. Right? So when you get a transformation, you can then use that testimonial with permission, of course. And when other people are reading that, they're going, that person's like me. I want that. And that's going to make your enrollment cycle much shorter than it would if you had to, if they wanted to follow you longer and build that trust. So using testimonials that are very similar to your coaching client profile really help build a lot of trust faster. Okay. And then also on referrals. So I want you to think in terms of creating your referral program, and the perks you're going to provide are specifically to appeal to the preferences and the motivations outlined in our client profiles. Plus, you can use the profile as a tool. Again, I'm going to show you all these places where when we do a strategy or a smaller strategy, if we can make a tool about it that we can just give and use over and over again, it's amazing. So think of when you're creating your coaching client profile, that you're going to use that as a tool to give to your referral partners, those people that, a lot of your referral partners might be previous clients, but there'll also be people who aren't, but they know, who your perfect client profile enough to then be able to make sure that fit happens a lot easier when they're giving you a referral. So they love to know who we serve, right? But we need to know that first and then embody that. All right. And then the last one before we get to the improvement one is the outsourcing piece. So at some point, if you haven't already, you might get a virtual assistant. You might hire somebody to help with marketing. You might hire somebody to do whatever, right? And your coaching client profile is going to actually be a tool for them to be able to hand over to future team members, service providers, contractors, so they know exactly who you serve and they can do their job a lot easier and faster because you're giving this. They don't have to assume, they don't have to ask you. You're just like, here's who we serve. Her name is Sabrina or whatever, and here's everything. So everything you're doing matches. This helps mitigate that Frankenstein business model that I've talked about as well, because we're all serving the same profile. Okay. And then last but not least is continuous improvement. Not the most exciting topic, I understand, in creating your business strategy, but when we get to the track module towards, the end of the program here of what I'm going to be teaching you, it is important to be able to get that feedback from our coaching clients and understand and tweak our profile to make sure that we're adding more value to your coaching offers, which then allows you to increase your prices in a lot of cases, as well as adding automation in, right? So we know what areas it's going to be great to automate in your process versus, if you're coaching client profile, if he or she really resonates with more personal touch, then you may not want to add automation in areas where they would like you to just schedule a phone call or an onboarding session on Zoom without automating that. All this kind of stuff, you're going to be able to find out and figure out more as you get in the mind of your coaching client profile. All right. And you can obviously increase your client experience, all the things, and ultimately get more profit, right? All right. So up next, the inside scoop about your coaching client profile. Can't wait to jump into this with you as well.